Hi again, and welcome to Module 5, Day 5 of the Dropshipping mini course. I hope you've got a lot of value out of the first 4 days. I hope you've been following along, and I'm glad to be able to share some more information with you. In today's video, I'm going to tackle a question that I get all the time. That is, how much money can you expect to make? So let's say you have found my material and you've been going through it and you've maybe heard some numbers that my businesses have done or that other businesses have done. And you're wondering, well, how much can you expect to make? Maybe you have no experience, maybe you have some, but you want to know what's really possible with this business model. Now, let me just start by saying that I cannot make any income claims for a couple of reasons. The first is that it's illegal. I can't promise that you're going to make any amount of money at all. I can't promise you're going to make $1 even. So with that being said, when you hear me give examples of other members that are doing well or talk about my own stores, just know that these are the results that we're getting, but in no way, of course, does that mean that you'll get the same. First of all, again, it's not legal for me to tell you it is. And second of all, to be honest, I don't know you, and I do think that success in dropshipping, just like any other business, has a lot to do with personality. So some of what I'll talk about in today's video is what you can do to give yourself the best chances of success. Because yes, this business model does work. We've already covered that in previous videos. Yes, it works for me. Yes, it works for many other people. And I really believe if it's going to work for you or not comes down to a few personality traits, but ones that you can work on and ones that even if you're not confident with yet, you can get there. But again, that'll be discussed later in this video. So the first question that I want to tackle to answer the bigger question of how much money you can make with this business model is how much profit is there to be had per sale. So this is one example that I give in my Dropship Lifestyle course, and I'm going to share with you right now in this free mini course. So I'm going to cover two different scenarios here, right? Let's say you are drop shipping items that sell for $10 retail. So a customer goes to your website, they see the item, it's for sale, it's $10, they buy it from you. These numbers are all hypothetical, but they're pretty close to what you could expect when drop shipping. There's a good chance that the item will actually cost you $6 from your supplier. There's a good chance that your shipping cost will be somewhere around $2 for a smaller item that costs about 10 bucks. So in this scenario, you are left with $2 profit for processing an order, right? So your profit per sale in this case would be $2. Not impressive, right? The second scenario is you sell more expensive items. You sell an item for $1,000. The item cost to your supplier is $600. The shipping cost is $200. And again, even though the supplier is going to ship this item directly to your customer, your company still does cover that shipping cost. So in this scenario, you're left with $200 profit. And that looks pretty good, much better than $2, and it's the same amount of work. You uploaded the same amount of products to your website, you sent the same traffic to it, you got the same order, you processed it the same way on your end, but in one different scenario, you made 100 times the amount of money you did with the other one. So this will give you an example of how much profit there is to be made per sale if you sell items at the right price point and if you work with the right type of suppliers. If you did not watch video 4, which is module 4 yet, I highly recommend going back and watching that because I give a lot of information on where you could find these right suppliers, but more importantly, how to not really get scammed the way a lot of people that are looking into drop shipping do. So this is in a pretty average scenario for me. I'm in scenario 2. I've never sold in scenario 1. Always go high end, only work with legitimate suppliers. And again, if you want more information on how to not find the bad suppliers, go back to video 4 and watch that one. So let's do a quick recap of dropshipping and how you make money just overall with this business model. So again, the customer buys from your website. The money goes into your bank account after the customer purchases from you. You then purchase this item from your dropship supplier, and then they ship that item to your customer. Again, the customer receives the item and you keep the profits. And again, just like in that last example I gave, the profit is the price you sold the item for minus the item cost, minus shipping. Whatever you're left with is your profit. So again, these numbers are obviously just rounded to make it easy, but this is what an average sale would look like. So how about the profit margins? Something that people always question when it comes to dropshipping. And part of this is because there's a lot of misleading information on profit margins when dropshipping on both ends of the spectrum. Sometimes you'll hear people talking about dropshipping from Amazon to eBay or eBay to Amazon. In my opinion, that's not even dropshipping. It's simply arbitrage. And in that business model, you're lucky if you're making 5, 10% profit margins. It's just terrible. Then on the opposite end of the spectrum, you could find some of these websites who I won't name right now, but there's a lot of websites that call themselves dropshippers, and they show sample profit margins. They actually show examples on their website saying, hey, if you sell this item for us at this price, this is what you pay us, and this is how much money you'll make. Now, the problem with that is the prices that they show you could sell their items for, you'll never sell them for, because it's the Wild West. That people are out there selling them for 5% margins, for 3% margins in some cases. So if you actually sold them or tried to sell them for what they suggest you sell them at, you'll never make any money with it. So again, this is the way to dropship profitably. It's to find suppliers that enforce pricing policies, and that's something I'm about to hit on in this video. But let's cover a couple different scenarios when it comes to profit margins. One, working with the right types of suppliers, the types of suppliers that I work with, and the types of suppliers that I recommend working with. You see here on the low end, I'm saying margins can range from about 15%. So yes, that it's not great, a 15% profit margin. It's not something that I strive to make. But if I have a supplier who has $1,000 items or more, and I know I can consistently sell them, and I know that I'm not going to have any customer service issues, and I know that the return rate's low, and on that $1,000 or more sale, I'm making $150 or more, I will accept a profit margin of about 15%. But again, that's not ideal. It's not what we're going for. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, there are some suppliers that offer amazing margins. Some of them are up to 50%. Now, I should say this isn't common, but it's there. Again, I've worked with hundreds of suppliers, and some of them do offer margins of up to 50%. So you're really earning a lot of money on every sale. Now, if I had to choose an average between these two, where profit margin usually falls, it's closer to 20%, a little bit over 20%, based on my experience of doing this for many years. So now let's talk about defending profit margins. So I just showed you some examples, and you might be thinking, okay, the 50% profit margin sounds great, but I'm okay with selling an item and only making 20%. So what if I take those items from the supplier, mark them up only 20%, and just get all the sales because I have the best prices. Everyone's going to buy from me. Well, the way that dropshipping really works, and the way that you can actually have a sustainable business in this, in e-commerce with dropshipping, is by working with suppliers who have what are called MAP policies. And I had briefly mentioned this in one of our previous videos in this mini course, but let me just go over it again. So again, MAP stands for minimum advertised price. And if a supplier has a minimum advertised price policy, when they give you their price list, they will give you the minimum amount of money that you can list each of their products for sale on for your website. So what's great about this is it protects their profit margins, it protects your profit margins, and it protects their brands. So let's just say I had a company that sold, computer screens, and it was a great computer screen, and I wanted the retail price of it to be $500, and I wanted no one to sell it for under $500. But let's say my retailers had a really good profit margin on that, and they were making $300 per sale. So their wholesale cost was $200. Now, the reason I wouldn't tell them just sell for whatever you want, and the reason I would tell them, no, you have to sell at $500, is because it would protect my brand. If I had a computer screen brand and I thought that they were worth $500 a piece, I wouldn't want people out there on the internet that are discounting them and basically just giving them away for a small markup, because I want to protect the value of my brand, the perceived value of the brand, and the pricing of my brand. So the suppliers we want to work with are suppliers that do this. They have pricing policies for their retailers, not just for us, but for everyone else that's selling their products. It's really going to help keep those profit margins locked in, and it's going to avoid those price wars that just destroy margins and destroy businesses. So definitely look for MAP. It's something that in my Dropship Lifestyle Coaching Program, I show how to check if suppliers enforce these policies or not. So if you're going to proceed with e-commerce, if you're going to build a dropship store, definitely recommend joining my Dropship Lifestyle Coaching Program and really going into depth with this and learning everything you can about it, because it could make or break your business. The next thing I want to talk about with how much money you can make with dropshipping is dealing with returns, because it is something that people kind of get scared about. If you're starting a business, and especially a physical product business, and you're having items shipped from all over whatever country you're from to your customers, well, what happens if the customer gets the item and they're not happy with it and they want to send it back. Well, a lot of different things could happen, and there's not one answer to this. For every one of your suppliers, there will be a different return policy. So you can't just have some like generic policy here. What you have to do as you get approved with each of your suppliers is read over your return policy. So your customer will have a return policy agreement with you when they buy from your site. And in the same way that you have to make a return policy, your suppliers have to make a return policy too. So make sure you know exactly how returns work with each one of your suppliers. And then when you make your return policy on your own e-commerce store, make sure it basically matches what your suppliers say. If items can't be shipped back after 2 weeks, make your policy that items can't be shipped back after 2 weeks. If your suppliers charge a 25% restocking fee, make sure you charge a 25% restocking fee. These are just ways to really protect yourself from ever losing money. So very important. Again, something I go much more into detail with in the coaching program, but just make sure that you really look over these policies whenever you're getting approved with a new supplier. So a question I get all the time and I find hard to answer, but I will do my best to tackle it right now, is how long until you make your first sale? Let's say you're watching this video, you're all in, you know you want to do this, you know you want to build an e-commerce store, you know you want to do drop shipping, you know you want to build a lifestyle business. How long is it going to take from the day you get started to the day you make your first sale? So there's a few different, I think, variables that could factor into this. For me, if I'm going to build a new store and put all my focus into it, I would guess 1 to 2 weeks I could have my first sale. So if you're coming into this and you have, and again, that's because I do have lots of experience with this. I'm confident when I contact suppliers. I know what to say. I know how to build my, what I call demo dropship store before I contact them. So I'm very confident when I build it, when I contact suppliers, when I set up traffic. So for me, maybe 1 to 2 weeks. For people that have been through my dropship lifestyle coaching program, some have done it in as little as, someone told me a week, which blows me away. Like, that blows my mind. Some people have done it in 2 weeks. Some have done it in a month. Some have done it in 3 months. It depends on a lot of factors. And I think those factors are how closely you follow, if you're going to work with me, my coaching program, because I will show you a streamlined way to do it. And all you have to do is watch the videos and follow along. Now, if you want to do it on your own, or if you want to work slower, it could take you a year, it could take you 2 years, maybe you'll never get your first sale. But I do believe if you follow along with what I could teach you and show you, that it should be 1 to 2 months before you get your first sale. And again, maybe you'll surprise me like everyone else that has emailed me within a week or two and said they've become profitable. So other things that could factor into how long it takes to make your first sale, it could be your previous technical skills. So we are building e-commerce stores here, and inside my Dropship Lifestyle Coaching Program, I do have a very detailed step-by-step mini course actually that will show you how to build your own e-commerce store. But for some people that have more experience working with websites, maybe they could do this in a day, or maybe it could take you a month the first time around. It's funny, a real world example. I had someone email me this morning who's in my coaching program, and on his first store, it took him months. He was living out in Thailand. He had moved out there, and it took him months to get it all right. He recently wanted to start another store. He wanted to move on to a second to increase his income. And he had emailed me about a niche to ask for my feedback on it. And I reviewed it for him. I gave him my feedback. I told him, yeah, I think this is great. You should go ahead and build your store and let me know when it's done so that I can give you my feedback on it. And you can make any improvements that I see room for. And within, I think it was 2 or 3 hours, he had emailed me back with a link to his new store, and it was up and it was totally built out. Of course, there wasn't traffic going to it. There weren't actual suppliers that he was approved with yet, but he had built his demo store within a couple hours, 2 or 3 hours, and his first store took him over a month to build. So this is something that maybe the first time you go through it, if you have no technical experience, there definitely is a learning curve. But after you do it the first time, it's a skill that will stay with you for life, and you could just repeat over and over and over. So to answer this question, simply as possible, maybe it'll take you a week, maybe it'll take you a couple months. It really depends on how closely you could follow along with the coaching program and really what your previous technical skills are. I should also mention, if you ever get stuck, you definitely can reach out to me. I've said it a bunch of times already, but I really am here to help. So if anything comes up and you get stuck, definitely send me an email and I'm happy to help. So that's going to do it for this video. That's going to wrap up Module 5. I hope I was able to put some clarity, at least, to the question of how much money you can expect to make. Again, there's lots of variables, but I do hope this answered some of your questions. The next video for tomorrow is going to be about how to actually sell these products. So I'm going to talk about using Shopify like I do. I'm going to talk about Amazon FBA. I'm going to talk about WordPress websites. It might start to get a little technical, but I'll overall try to keep it pretty simple. But again, tomorrow's video is all about the sales, how we're going to actually sell these products. So make sure you check your email, look for one from me, and check out the video, and it'll be there waiting for you. And as always, any questions, reply to this email. I'm happy to help. Thank you.